Welcome back to Greatest's Let's Play series on Minecraft. Modded Minecraft, that is. As you can see from last episode, we've rearranged the chest a little bit just to stop them from stacking up, hate that kind of thing. In this case, we put wood labels on them, and wood labels, they're pretty simple to make, assuming you have some wood available. Yep, I do. Just take 6 slabs and do that. Pine label in this case, and you can drop this shift right click onto the front of any chest and shift right click it, and you can put anything you want into the label. So in this case we can just put a stick in there to indicate miscellaneous maybe, and there we go. Simultaneously, you can also put other items in there, and if it happens to be a light source, it will also increase the light level around the label too. So for the moment I'm just going to leave that blank, but we have some metals in here. We may well have a gems chest, obviously plants, some other things like that. You just save signs on the wall, which are not always the most attractive thing, and you can also fill them then with more useful things like tool racks, bookcases in our case, and lots of barrels. So where are we going to start this episode? Well, we're going to start by sleeping. Okay, so from last episode, we visited the Nether, made some tools. We got the faster pick. Great. And if I've got this in my hotbar, as long as it's daytime, it's going to repair itself. Well, even not in daytime, but it'll take a lot longer. In daytime, it'll repair itself, which is all nice and good. We just have this around while we're doing stuff above ground. And by the time we get back to below ground, we'll have a nice repaired pick. We've also got the Nether pick, which... yeah, that's a little bit worse. I've been off in the Nether between episodes. And this will do exactly the same thing because of the moss. Later on, we'll get to some kind of tools that don't degrade really at all. But for now, our faster pick will do. Where to put this? Just anywhere for now. And yeah, we'll just store this. Right. So I'm sick of using a normal sword. Just like the normal mining tools, they will wear down and break. And I've got, old versions like this old sapphire sword here, the ruby sword, which does a bit more damage. But we can probably do better than that even. So where do we go? What do we want to do? Well, last time I made some manulin, and that's just cobalt and hardite in the smelter outside. And let's make a bit more actually, because it's always useful to have. Let's say 3 of each. Let's say 4 of each. No, actually, just 2. Okay. So while we're doing other things, we can just shove that in the smeltery. And as you can see, I've also moved one of the tanks outside with fluiducts, the second tier of fluiducts. And there we go. You can see that inside. Once it's melted up, we'll be able to do things with it just like we do normally. But we need to decide what we're going to make with it. So one of the things we need to make, and well, I've done it between episodes just because you're already aware of the process, is a saw blade cast. Make it using this, just like before. You choose which pattern you want and it will make it. Similarly, a wide guard pattern we have. And we're going to make the wide guard out of paper. Just like before, reasons are we get extra modifiers, and that's all great. So if we have any paper, and this is why we're going to need a sorting system soon, because I can never remember where I put anything, and I'm really unorganized. So let's go and make the wide guard. Paper, wide guard, done. The sword and the handle, I believe, is made from a tool rod. It may be different. Let me just go and check that actually. This is why I'm probably going to move. In fact, let's just move the bookcase outside. We don't want it inside really. Let's just take books. Well, hopefully take the books. we go. Yeah, we'll just use a tree for now. So we want the middle book. Tools. We want a broadsword. That's the equivalent of kind of the normal kind of tool sword. There's also long swords, rapiers, and hatchets. I think. Yeah, maybe. But this is the one we actually want: a wide guard, a tool rod, and a sword blade. So, did we get a tool rod? Yes, we did. Okay. So we're going to need to actually melt down maybe some more manulin. Let's drop that in, and let's make the sword blade because we have the cast. One sword blade. Done. So we've got 2 of the 3 components. We want the third one. Now, what are we going to make that out of? That's a good question. Just going to have a look in the book. Materials. Cactus wouldn't be too bad. We can get some jagged. If you look at the effects, the tool attacks does more damage as it wears out, but mine's slow. Oh, by the way, that's a correction to the previous episode. By the way, Stonebound isn't more damage. Sorry, I said it was. It just mines faster as it wears out. It's the equivalent of jagged, but for mining tools, really. So it does more damage as it wears out, but mine's slower. Fair enough. But that's probably not going to worry us too much. We could make this out of a bunch of different stuff, but at the end of the day, I think we're just going to go for maybe more manulin. Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of durability that way, and once we add moss to it, it's going to repair itself, so, you know, it should last us a very long time between needing to repair. Yeah, if anyone has any actual suggestions, by the way, of a better sword than all manulin, please let me know. But right now we're going to need to make a cast, which means this is the wrong thing to make. Do we have enough? We need some aluminium brass again. What piece will do? Do I have a tool rod in stone? I do. So I should just be able to make a cast from that. So I already have one. Never mind, I have one. Which means this is useless, and we can put our manulin back in. Yeah, there's too much there, but hey, what the hell. We've got lots of lava. Okay, just gotta wait for that to cook up. While we're doing that, by the way, one of the other advantages of going to the Nether, may have mentioned it last episode, you can fly, which means we can use morph to refill this. I made an extra one of these. Yeah, that's running low. So let's go and refill this at our volcano. Now, morph has the ability to let us change into different things. You use the square brackets, go backwards and forwards between different things, and then you can press the tilde key, top left of your keyboard, to mark things as favorites. So in this case, I've killed an awful lot of things, but there's a few things that I do actually want as favourites. Now, if we got favourites, we can just hold down tilde, and now I can change into myself, squid, which is useful for moving through lots of water and mine things underwater and stuff like that. A blaze, very good for the nether. It's got lots of fire resistance. You can fight other blazes easily. It becomes a much easier place once you've got a blaze. And a bat. And the bat is our overworld stuff, which is exactly what we want now. So let's turn the bat form. And now we no longer need to pillar up to things. Yeah, this is a little like creative flight, and we're probably going to change this. Obviously, you can notice all the lava's now gone around the volcano. We're mining down through it, down to that lava lake underneath. And if I just prop this down. Okay, so it hadn't quite finished filling up its internal buffer. We can just leave that there to fill. Come back to it in a minute. And it looks like our manual is melted, which is good. Great. Now I've got all three components of our better sword. Where's the sword? Sword. There we go. Broadsword. Handle. Sorry, blade. Handle. Oh my god. Not the Kresnala. Tool rod. Broadsword with writable. And better sword? Yes, I'm not very imaginative. If you have a better sword than this, please let me know. I have no problem making it. Of course, I don't have a desert nearby, so I can't find cactus, so I may have to go and do another flying session for that. Anyway, better sword, done. So if I do this, we've got 4 modifiers remaining, and there's a few we may want for this. One of them is definitely going to be that moss. Do I have enough stone left? Again, another hunting session through here. I don't have enough for some more moss. I'm going to go back down to that dungeon and be right back once I've got enough. Back, and we've got some more cobblestone, so let's just make some of it into a ball of moss. And then we can modify this to give us a sword which will self-repair. What else can we add to that? Well, let me just look at the book and I'll be right back just to save some time. So here we are in the book, and one of the things we're going to want to add is sharpness. So this is going to be nether quartz. We don't have a lot of it now, but we can at least lock that modification in. What else? Fiery would be nice, but of course we don't have any nether, any blaze powder to spare. I want to keep them in blaze rods at the moment. You can make a powder from couple of powder from a rod. In fact, in the macerator you can make more. You can maybe get 5. Necrotic bone, that would be quite good, but I don't have any yet. Silk we don't need. Knockback maybe. Beheading would be quite nice because some of the heads will come useful in the magic section. But again, I don't have an ender pearl yet. Obsidian's quite easy to get. We definitely don't want Bane of Arthropods. Yeah, and the rest. Let's not worry about them. So all we're going to do initially... Yeah, all we're going to do initially is do some quartz if we can afford it. Yeah, all we've got is 10 at the moment, so that may be enough to just lock it in. There we go. Okay. Current attack is 4.5 hearts, so it does less than the actual ruby sword, which does 8 attack. Maybe that's equivalent. Actually, I don't know the difference between those two. I'll go back. I'll go and look at that up and come back to you. Anyway, just going to log that in, and you'll notice quartz is now logged in. Of course, the attack hasn't gone up, but that's going to need more quartz. For now, that just means that we have 2 modifiers remaining, and all we're really simply going to fill it with is maybe that necrotic bone if I get one, but more and more and more quartz. So over time, this sword's going to get better and better as we go. What's up next? I'll be right back. This is what we want. Somewhat north of our home. If I zoom out, here we are in a desert. And a desert's an ideal place to look for Enderman. It's open, it's flat, and if you see any points like that, 2x2s or larger in later versions, we're going to want that later. So just mark those out. Put a waypoint down. But the main thing right now is Enderman. I just killed one, so I've got 1 Ender Pearl, but we need a few more. So I'm going to be right back once I've killed a few. And while you're at here, pick up some cactus. We're going to be needing that shortly. And while they're exploring, we found a builder's wand, which is very useful, and iridium ore, which is amazing. We'll be using a lot of that later. If you see any of it, pick it up, as well as your portal spawners. They'll be quite handy too. One brief note, we came to fill this hardened tank again, and it looks like, because it's just not changing, looks like we've completely dried out this volcano. Yep, that's right. However, we have another volcano, if you'd see at the very top. I've just put a cap on there, just another platform like this. So I think we're going to go move everything across to the other volcano. Should be relatively straightforward. Let's just change back. Turn the engines off and pick them up, which, yeah, unfortunately we can't do with a hammer. Don't worry on anything else except IC2. Things won't break when you pick them up. You can put them back down again. And there you can see. Right, back in a minute. So here we are. Brief reminder. Just pop down a holding piece. Then we want the pump. Shuts off the lights. Let's just put a couple of torches down. Then we want our engines. You can use redstone torches. They're a bit prettier than levers, or even the fancy switches you can get. But for the moment, it doesn't really matter too much, because we've now got another volcano. And this, once these engines speed up, is going to fill up just like we did before. And I may have to demolish that whole thing. We'll show you a fast way of getting rid of stuff like that fairly soon when we start expanding into the basement. Right now, we need to go to the Nether and get some blaze rods. Now, when we come into the Nether, what we're probably going to do is change into a blaze. Now, if you haven't killed a blaze yet, you won't have that option, so feel free to keep using a bat. When you stand still, you'll see all these particle effects, which make you nearly blind. As long as you keep moving, you can fly just like a bat. At the same time, we can get fire resistance. The fire resistance is really important when we go and fight blazes. Now, we do have a fortress over here, and there is a blaze spawn in it. So I'm going to head there, and then I'll show you what I did around the blaze spawn. And here is our fortress, nearest one we could find, and inside it is a blaze spawner. Now, I've completely surrounded this entirely in cobblestone, and as there's no chunk loader, nothing's going to happen in there while I'm away. But when I get closer, it's going to start spawning blazes, which of course we are a blaze, so this should be relatively easy to get a few blaze rods. Just knock a hole in through the wall, and kill them, picking up the nice blaze rods. Now, we're probably going to need at least 8, so if you're going to follow along with this, whoops, collect, I don't know, 12, something like that. And there's the second one. It does not take long at all. Back to the overworld. One quick thing before we go back to the overworld, try to pick up a lot of this quartz. Remember, our sword is going to need it. It's 4.5 hearts of damage at the moment. Let's get it up to 6 or so, which we're going to need a lot of quartz to do so. So keep collecting it, and then just use the smeltery tools to upgrade it whenever you can. And we're back. And we managed to find 2 ender pearls on Enderman. No luck with ender lily seeds yet. They will be really handy. So what are we going to do with them? Ender tanks. Ender tanks are very, very useful, particularly when we're transporting things like lava. We need some wool. 2 should do it. And some blaze rods, which we went and got from our manual at the moment. Blaze rod farm. That should do it. Actually, we want 8 because we want 2 tanks. A cauldron, which is just iron ingots. So we want 14. Scrappy stack. Two in the tanks. And because this is lava, let's just dye them. Red. Now, the colour swatches on top basically indicate the channel that they're on, the frequency if you like. So red, 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 red. Anything that's inside this one is also inside this one. If you're on a server, hit the front with a diamond to isolate this to just you. Otherwise, make sure you're not using the same as someone else. Good. But we're not quite done yet. We're going to be moving everything into the Nether after that volcano over there runs out. In order to do that, it'll get unloaded. When we actually leave the Nether. So we're going to need to get another one of those. And we've already done this thing before, so let's just do this quickly. We want 4 obsidian, which we've got. We want a book, which I should have somewhere. A couple of diamond and another ender pearl. We had 1 from before. So, enchantment table first. A couple of diamonds. Oops. Now a book. And we need 5 gold. Another junk loader. Let's take these with us. Typical. Right, so until our volcano runs dry, let's go and put this up here. Now just like the portable tanks, the ender tanks are by default on input mode, I think. Put it down there. Yep, and there it is, it's filling up. And you can see the one in my inventory is also filling up, which is good. except that may just have drained the volcano. Never mind, you can show it in principle, and I'll be moving it into the Nether next episode. So let's just drop down. And the other one we can put down here. Let's get rid of these. We should no longer need them. Ender tank. There we go. And it's filling up. Obviously, it's pulling out of here. Again, by default, as I said before, it's in input mode. So let's just let's use up a bit of the lava just to get rid of this as well. Yeah, we don't need that. So now all we need to do is make sure this is in output mode, which you just right click on the front, and output goes to the top, which is what indicates which mode it's in. And now anything in the other one will also be in this one, which will drain into our system and be used by the geothermal. One I forgot to do, which I shouldn't have done. It probably doesn't matter now because the volcano's dry, but just to show you in principle. Yeah, we just drop this down anywhere really. Doesn't really matter too much. And there we go. See, everything's covered. Done. Now, all that we need to do is move that into the Nether, and we've got not a renewable power supply, but certainly a very, very much larger source of power, but not infinite. If you look in the Nether, even the oceans will get drained by one of those pumps eventually. It takes a long time, and depends on how many machines you have hooked up to it, but we are shortly going to be, because of this, we're shortly going to be making many, many more machines. And those machines are going to consume this like crazy, and that means I'm going to have to go to renewable power sooner or later. So, let's see what's next. Actually, if we cut away the boring parts, we do have time to show you this in this episode. We are going to move all of that tank apparatus, the pump and everything else into the Nether, and we're going to build a platform over this lava lake. Again, it's not infinite, but it should give us a good source of power for a good amount of time. So I'm going to cut away, do that, and then come back in a second. And we're done. As you can see, there's now a room, and it's right above the lava lake. So let's head this way. You can see, yep, there we go. Good target. So we want a pump, 4 engines, 2 levers, our ender tank, and our chunk loader. Chunk loader we just stick in the corner. Doesn't really matter how many chunks we load with this one. 1 pump, engine. Really must make redstone lamps. Don't like those at all. And there we go. Now, obviously not apparent because that was already full before, but now everything is running, and we can leave it running thanks to the chunk loader. So when we leave here, lava is going to continue to generate. If we look outside, there it goes. That's going to go all the way down into the lava and pump it all the way back up. It might take it a minute to get down there. Doesn't matter too much to us. We don't use it that fast. So that's looking like it's about it for this episode. So what are we going to do next? We're going to be, well, when things load, we're going to be pretty rapidly, now that we've got a good source of power, expanding these machines so that we can much more rapidly process things, and that's one of the 2 prerequisites for going to automatic mining. I'm sick of going getting all of this stuff from down there by hand, even though this new pick is great. We want something like a quarry or other kind of automatic mining. But to do that, we need two things really. One is many more of these machines, so they will process things for us, and not up here either. I don't really like this setup. They're all going to be downstairs in the basement. We're all going to do the actual stuff and bring the stuff back up here, maybe into barrels, maybe into chests, not quite sure yet. The other one is really to sort all of these chests automatically. And next episode, I think we're going to go to do the sorting stuff, because these, yeah, they're horrible. So let's sort that out next. Thanks for watching.